Hi everybody! Today we have another fairy tale story from Dean's Gift Book of Fairy Tales. Dean's Gift Book of Fairy Tales. The book contains stories of Cinderella, Babes in the Wood, Sleeping Beauty, Puss in the Boots, Tom Thumb, Hansel and Gretel, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast. Illustrated by Janet and Anne Graham Johnstone. Dean and Sons Limited. Copyright 1967. Well, hello! How are you, Monkey Boo? Thank you for coming and joining us today. I see you have the book already opened. What story you want to read? Oh, look. Sleeping Beauty. What a lovely choice. The drawing looks amazing. What is it, Monkey Boo, you'd like to say hi? Okay. Who would you like to say hi to? Your friends? Okay. Hi, Annie. Hi, Olive. Hi, everybody. Thank you, Monkey Boo. Thank you. Let's get reading. Sleeping Beauty. Once upon a time, a great king and queen had a baby daughter. The princess was to be called Aurora, and the most important fairies in the land were invited to be her godmothers. The kind fairy godmothers gathered around Aurora's cradle to bestow their christening gifts. One gave beauty, others kindness, cleverness, and good health. Unfortunately, there was one cross old fairy the queen forgot to ask. At this moment, the nasty old witch arrived in a rage. "And she said, I promise that before she is 16, the princess will prick her finger with a spindle and die." Everyone in court was horrified, and the poor queen nearly fainted away. Happily, the wisest of the good fairies had hidden behind a curtain when she knew the witch came in. Now she stepped out, and tapping the baby with her wand, she said, "No, little princess, you shall not die, but fall asleep for 100 years. A noble prince will wake you with a kiss." The old witch swept out of the palace, muttering angrily, and the king and queen thanked the fairy joyfully for saving their child. With every year, that very day, the king passed a law forbidding anyone to use a spindle within 10 miles of the royal palace. With every year that passed, the Princess Aurora grew more beautiful and more beloved by all who knew her. Always kind and gay, she made everyone else as happy as herself. She sang like a nightingale and was as quick and clever as anyone can imagine. There was not a dog, cat, or horse at the palace that did not greet her joyfully, for she was as much a favorite with animals as with people. The only thing that Aurora could not do as well as any girl in the kingdom was sew. Her parents were so terrified of her pricking herself that she had never even seen a needle or a pin. The day before her 16th birthday, Princess Aurora was trying to keep out of the way while everyone wrapped up her birthday presents. Wandering up the steps to the tallest tower in the palace, the princess came to a tiny room she had never been in before. There sat a funny old woman, bent with age, distaff topped with a flax, and a spindle spinning from a long thread swung from her arm. "Oh, do let me try that, please," Aurora cried, who had never seen a spindle before. "It looks such fun." "Of course, my dear child," crowed the old woman. But as she took the spindle, the princess pricked herself on its sharp point. A tiny drop of blood fell from her finger, and Aurora sank slowly to the floor. As for the old woman, who was the wicked fairy in disguise, she flew cackling out of the window, "Ha ha ha ha!" and crying, "I am now avenged! You did not escape me!" She disappeared. When the princess was found lying in the little room by her lady-in-waiting, the king and queen were in despair. The king, realizing his daughter was not dead, but in a deep sleep, had her laid on a beautiful bed of white and gold in the middle of the great hall. There she lay, looking so pretty and smiling as if she was having a lovely dream. As they turned sadly away, the king and queen saw the fairy who had helped them before, standing beside them. She waved her wand, murmuring a spell, and a bright shower like stars floated around the palace, as if from far away came to the sweet sound of soothing music. The king and queen wandered drowsily to the throne room and sat nodding on their thrones. All through the palace, people started to fall asleep. The cooks, the kitchen fires, the soldier in the guardroom, the grooms, and the horses in the stable. The Lord Chamberlain snored in his office, and a scullery maid lay dreaming amidst the kettles and pots. In the royal mews, the hawks hunched their feathered shoulders and shut their eyes. Even the butterflies in the garden went to sleep on the flowers. Princess Aurora's little dog, who had jumped into the bed beside her, fell asleep with his chin resting on the princess's arm. One moment all was busy. Knights were playing music for their ladies. Pages were bustling to and fro. Duchesses were gossiping, and the court fool was dancing merrily. As the spell started working, everyone yawned, blinked their eyes, and sank down to sleep. Dogs, cats, even fish for dinner slumbered peacefully. Little roses grew twining around the pillars of the silent palace. All around the palace, Aurora's fairy godmother grew thick woods of brambles and thorns and great trees. As years passed by, people forgot the king, queen, and Princess Aurora. Some folk believed the palace belonged to a witch or a dragon. Those who saw the tops of the towers above the trees and tried to reach them found the thorn hedge much too thick to pass through. Some 99 years, 11 months, 30 days passed by. Then came the day that would complete the 100 years. A young prince, whose father ruled the neighboring kingdom, was out hunting with his courtiers. Trying to take a shortcut through some woods, the prince got lost, and he and his horse wandered all day trying to find the rest of the hunt. As they came to the top of the hill, the prince was astonished to see stretching before him a great forest. Above the trees, the towers and roofs of a distant palace twinkling in the sunshine. The prince was wondering whose palace it might be when Aurora's fairy godmother appeared before him. She told the astonished prince that in the palace was the loveliest princess in the world. You can rescue her from an enchantment if you are brave and determined, said the fairy, but to get to her you will have to pass through the great thorn hedge that surrounds the palace. The prince thanked the fairy with a polite bow. Filled with excitement, he rode towards the enchanted forest. As he drew near, he saw the wood was indeed a tangled mess of huge thorn bushes. Not wishing his horse to be torn by the brambles, the prince dismounted and left his charger grazing under the trees. Next, sword in hand, he started to hack a patch through the thorn hedge. Great was his surprise when, after a few minutes, the fierce thorns turned into beautiful, brilliantly colored flowers. Quickly the prince made his way to the palace and up the stone steps. Here the door was guarded by 2 tall sentries who had been snoring gently for 100 years. Into the great hall strode the young prince, his footsteps echoing in the strange silence. The prince marveled at the sleeping courtiers, who lay all around in their old-fashioned clothes, now 100 years out of date. In the center of the room, he saw the big white gold bed. Lying fast asleep on the bed was the most beautiful girl the prince had ever seen. Her fine, long golden hair flowed over the pillow. She wore a little crown and the prettiest pale blue dress edged in gold. Asleep beside the princess, Mopser, her little dog, dreamed he was having a delicious bone. At the side of the bed, her faithful little page dreamed of the day when he would be a great knight. For a moment, the handsome prince stood gazing at the beautiful-haired girl, wondering how he could break the spell. Stooping, he kissed her gently on the cheek. Instantly, Princess Aurora opened her lovely blue eyes and looked at him. The prince, who had fallen madly in love with her, took Aurora by the hand and begged her to marry him. All around them, the palace was waking up. Guards shouldered their pikes. Ladies straightened their hairdresses. Little Mopser yawned and wagged his tail, and Aurora's page looked up in astonishment. In the stables, the horses woke, and the grooms started grooming them. The cooks in the kitchen started making puddings and sauces. The fire roasted the joint, and the head butler refreshed himself with a cup of wine. The king and queen came in from the throne room and hurried to embrace their daughter. Then, thanking the prince warmly for breaking the spell, they gladly agreed that he and Princess Aurora should be married. Messengers were sent to fetch the prince's father and mother, and when they arrived, the wedding was held with great rejoicing. The kind fairy was the guest of honor among kings and queens, distinguished magicians and fairies. Not long after their parents retired, the prince and Aurora became king and queen. They lived happily and had many children, and you may be sure they asked all the right fairies to the christening. What a lovely story. I enjoyed all of the nice pictures that they drew. And the story was nice. She woke up, she had a lovely prince. He made his way through the thorn bushes. He's a handsome prince, certainly in his princely outfit, modern outfit. And how all those people were sleeping. And then they woke up. And the good fairy princess and then Princess Aurora pricking her fingers. And there the wicked old fairy and the king and queen. What a lovely little story, Sleeping Beauty. Thank you everybody for joining us today and for sharing this wonderful little book with us. And Monkey Boo, yeah, did you like the story? Yeah, you did, didn't you? I did as well too. They're lovely drawings, as you can see from the pages of the book. And it's a lovely story, Sleeping Beauty. Thank you for coming and sharing our reading of the story today, Monkey Boo. Thank you. Oh, you'd like to say goodbye? Okay. Bye, Olive. Bye, Undine. Bye, everybody. Bye, Monkey Boo. Thank you. Bye.